Welcome back. In this video we're going to talk a bit more about AI in service delivery. So it's not going to be about the wider way of policy making, but in the delivery of public services to you and I, other people, and also businesses. So the policy is basically already there, but as you can imagine, there are a lot of services governmental organizations give to us. And AI can also be used to help this procedure or these processes a little bit or quite fundamentally. So what is often being mentioned is that AI can really help the information delivery about governmental services. There's a lot of emphasis on having AI tailor, for instance, the information that is often available on governmental websites, which is very terrible to figure out and navigate through, as I'm sure you are also aware of. But instead, then AI can help you get actually the answer that you're looking for. Often this can be through the use of various chatbots that are now also on governmental websites, but also maybe even more personalized service delivery. For instance, if you're a student, the system knows that you just registered as a student, for instance, and based on a lot of other students, it might figure out that you might also be quite interested in having certain services about housing or maybe student loans, etc., etc. That it can then automatically and maybe tailorize, maybe even in your own language, to you, rather than you having to figure out this whole maze of bureaucracy by yourself. You also see that AI is more or less being integrated in service delivery to actually automate certain parts of the process. So you and I don't really have to go to the site, to the session itself anymore, but AI takes care of some of the automation and in the behind the scenes. So maybe you don't need to go 3 times to the municipal office to get your passport renewed. It gets done more or less automatically through AI. What we also see is that there might be completely new services being developed that are never possible before. Think about the use of robots, care robots in Barcelona that they were piloting to help the elderly population. This would not be possible without. So it's a completely new service delivery. Also, you see a lot of emphasis in reducing corruption and improving trust by having these AI tools help citizens understand what's going on, and also to reduce the perhaps biased civil servants in how they proceed and decide on certain benefits and other key decisions. However, most of the AI cases that I have seen is still to empower the civil servants that are behind the desk with a lot of insights from data, with a form of decision-making support tools. So when you are in front of them, they can better understand your needs and use their professional expertise to tailor the service just a little bit better to what you need or might need in the future even. Ideally, for instance, in Estonia, they have the initiative that's called Bureaucrat, where they want to create a super big, wide super Siri, as they call it themselves, but then only for government services. So you have one chatbot that can basically do everything that you need. It has access to all the governmental services and can just help you figure out what to do and maybe even already do it for you. Other examples that are existing is, for instance, helping in reskilling and finding jobs is actually being used here in Belgium as well. It helps job seekers figuring out, hey, I have already all these competencies, and it actually doesn't require so much extra work to find a new job that it might not be in your same industry now, but because you have all these skill sets already, you could actually work there. Or another simple example is one of the first chatbots that was being used already in Latvia years ago to answer frequently asked questions. And civil servants then have a lot more time at their hands to actually handle the difficult cases and actually help you when you really need the assistance. However, what we still see is that a lot of this AI is really meant to help citizens figure out the government. Right? So better information towards citizens, but they don't really change the way the services are often delivered. In the worst cases, you only now know a little bit better how and what terrible bureaucratic procedures you have to endure to get what you need, instead of changing the procedure. And also the emphasis on the chatbots, while they look very nice and might help you, we don't know so much if they actually work so well and if citizens are actually using these and they are helpful. I mean, imagine if you put a chatbot on a pension scheme website. Do the elderly people really know and want to use these chatbots? We don't know so much. And lastly, how the services really change, we still also don't really know. Maybe not so much changes after all, but it's just amplified with a little touch of AI.